Welcome to our Adobe Awareness video on the new feature of domain enforcement. Domain enforcement is a new feature launched by Adobe on September 5th, 2024. It does apply to education, but it only applies to those of you that have your domain claimed and are using an enterprise or a federated ID. All new consoles that are set up with a directory and claim a domain after September 5th will default to having domain enforcement on. If you already had your domain claimed prior to September 5th, it defaults to off. So keep that in mind as we walk through this new feature. Now, where you will find this in the Adobe Admin Console is on the Settings tab. You can see here that I have a directory named Logisoft with an enterprise ID, and there's a new column here that shows my domain enforcement is off. When I click on my directory, I have an active domain that is claimed, and again, a new section here called Domain Enforcement. Now, domain enforcement, what it actually does is blocks the creation of new Adobe ID accounts along with the purchase of software for personal use if they have the claimed domain. So in our example here, we've got logisoft.com claimed as the domain. So if my colleague wants to go to adobe.com and using their personal credit card purchase, for example, Substance, they will not be able to if I turn this on. So when you turn on domain enforcement, you are limiting what faculty, staff, and students can do with their personal spending on adobe.com. Now, you can turn this on or off at any time, but when you do turn it on, you gain access to additional settings shown here. You have the ability to edit user's identity type, meaning you can change it from Adobe to Enterprise, Enterprise to Federated, etc. You can require users to have to change their email addresses for personal accounts. You can also run a report that tells you who has an Adobe ID with your domain. So this could really benefit you if you wanted to see how many of my students are going out and purchasing a license themselves using their own money when I'm already paying for it. The third thing you'll find here is you can create an exception list. So let's say you want domain enforcement turned on, but you have someone in your marketing department that really does need to purchase something additional on adobe.com. You can add their email to this exception list so they can go do that. Now, there's pros and cons to this new feature. The pros are that you can control who purchases an Adobe product online, especially if you're spending your very precious budget dollars on Adobe. You can run a list of users who are purchasing online, and maybe that information will help you with planning future purchases. The cons to this are that once you turn it on, you could have students or staff come to you asking why they can't buy something online. And we know you guys get enough questions as it is, so maybe you don't want to deal with that. The other con is keep in mind that if you turn it on or off frequently, it could result in users facing disruptions when signing in. So I encourage you to do some research. There's a link in the information on the video. Read up about it, call us if you have any questions, and once you make a decision, just kind of stick to it so that you don't run into any issues. Hope that helps. Let us know if there's anything else that we can help you with on domain enforcement.